Has someone ever stolen your idea in a meeting? Not too long ago, my introvert self was sitting in a day-long meeting. I did a lot of listening that day, but did speak up with an interesting idea. Unfortunately, another person repeated my idea in their dramatic soliloquy, and everyone nodded. They didn't nod to me, but rather this other extroverted person. What? Has this happened to you? Introverts practicing medicine face a different set of challenges. Your natural demeanor undercuts deserved recognition or advancement in your group or organization. You're labeled as shy or too quiet. What if you think of being an introvert as an advantage? Sure, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and I sometimes wonder if I'm squeaky enough. But introverts have a trump card, or rather, they have a whole hand of winning cards. Listen in today and learn more. Find the full transcript and more resources for physician moms at inspiredmommds.com/23. You're listening to Inspired Mom MDs with host Cindy Van Prague, helping physician moms take back control and prioritize what matters most so they thrive in private practice and at home. Some will say, she's too quiet. Darn straight I am, except when I'm not. Being quiet does not stop me from advocating loudly for my patients. Being the quiet mom doesn't mean I didn't throw fabulous birthday parties for my kids, which isn't a thing anymore now that they're teenagers. And being an introvert doesn't mean my household is quiet, quite the opposite. It is fairly well known that introverts are amazingly loud and funny and witty when they choose to be. Fact. Just ask my family. Speaking of facts, the truth is introversion and extroversion are on a spectrum. Everyone falls somewhere along that line, while those in the middle are often called ambiverts. I don't believe there is an ideal place on this line. I do think in terms of pros and cons of each position on the introvert-extrovert scale. Born as an introvert, I need to focus on the benefits of my reserved nature and tendency to think before speaking. I see the benefits of extroverts too. They are a pleasure to have around. I sometimes sigh with relief when an extrovert walks in the room. That takes the work away from me to have to entertain, which is what I secretly want anyway. The balance is sometimes harmonious and sometimes elusive. So what are some of those winning cards that introverts can play to tip the balance towards harmony? There are 3 cards that I will talk about today. Look at your introvert qualities as strengths, practice small behavioral changes that will give you an edge, and celebrate your inborn disposition. Introspection is the name of the first card. Not that introverts don't do enough of that. Reframe your introvert tendencies as strengths. Do you take time to formulate your thoughts? I'm not talking about clinical or emergent thoughts, but more like in a meeting on a divisive topic. Your strength here is not blurting out every single step of your mental process. I'd like to think you have an air of mystery. When you do contribute, you speak with the refined opinion. You distill out the nonsense and get straight to the point. How rewarding is that? Now, do you avoid conflict? I do, and I celebrate having less drama around. It's often not worth my energy. How about, do you prefer to listen than talk? There's so much to learn from others when we listen to them. When we're talking, we're not listening. And would you rather be alone than at yet another party? This really isn't a burden to an introvert, right? For me, of course, I enjoy a good party, laughing and socializing, but there is a limit. I only need so much of that. The strength here is taking alone time to relax. For me, that looks like meditation to slow my heart rate or reading a book to expand my knowledge. Also, being alone recharges me for the next social setting where I have the energy to speak up or to squeak like that proverbial wheel. This leads me to the second card in your hand. Sometimes you do need to change the behavior around some of your tendencies. Do practice, grow, and learn to speak out more when it truly matters. Just as I need to practice speaking up a bit more, an extrovert needs to practice toning it down a little and listening to others. I speak up more now because I learned I need to change my behavior in certain situations. I learned to work against my tendencies. This gets more comfortable over time. Recall I just mentioned my quiet moments in that day-long meeting and how my idea got trampled? I am better now at elevating my voice a bit and making eye contact with my audience and making sure that my thoughts are heard. I keep my thoughts short and concise to have more impact. Other ideas that may resonate with you to change little behaviors are 1, prioritize your tasks to schedule in breaks to recharge. You're already an expert on yourself. Where do you need a shift? Perhaps take a breather from that overstimulating meeting or take the time to do that one activity that helps you recharge. How about learn to communicate your needs and boundaries effectively? Boundaries are important to my mental health and physical health for sure. I set limits to protect valuable time alone and to exercise. Be your own advocate for your basic needs. I spoke about this in a recent podcast. It was called Saying No Like a Boss, Boundaries for Physician Moms. Check it out on episode number 20 in your podcast app or on my website, inspiredmommds.com/20. Another idea is to start small and gradually increase your adjustments and behavior over time. For example, speaking up to set boundaries or just get your intelligent ideas out to the world takes practice when it's not an innate skill. When you take this one step at a time, I guarantee it becomes easier. Don't feel pressured to change who you are. Just work on what is valuable to maintain, like your job or your family harmony. You are a one-of-a-kind personality and a precious contribution to this world. Thank goodness we aren't all the same. Wouldn't that be boring? I love the memes that cross social media about introverts that make me laugh. I wish I could show pictures in the middle of this podcast. Have you heard of these? From unknown authors. First, why would I want to go big when I could just go home? Here's another one. If you see me in public, it's not me. And my favorite is this one. I'm not antisocial. I'm pro-solitude. I just found out that there is a World Introvert Day, which is every January 2nd. The idea behind it is to bring awareness to the inner secrets of introverts and to allow them to recover after this big holiday season. I would like to think of this day not just as awareness and recovery, but a celebration. And deservedly, each day is a celebration. Sure, being an introvert in medicine and as a mom can limit you in this loud, chaotic world. But this is actually a strength. You are a much-needed complement to tone down the noise and temper overreactions. I also want to dispel a myth before I finish. Being an introvert does not mean that you are shy. I'm not speaking because I choose not to, not because I'm embarrassed or fearful of what people will say. Fear and embarrassment are emotions. Introversion is a personality type. So play your winning cards and enjoy your day today. And don't forget to join me next week for another dose of support and inspiration. And until then, take care of yourselves and take care of those who matter most. It's time to take control and thrive. Thank you for tuning in to Inspired Mom MDs. Please share with other physician moms and leave a review if you found value from this podcast.